I never thought I'd find myself talking about the Muppets, but hey, weirder things have happened in video memories. Might as well start at the beginning. I can trace my introduction to these weird characters to the mid to late 90s, and they come from several sources. We start with Toy Story on VHS, which I had an opening promo for. Oh, that's right, I forgot. Well, good thing I have 101 Dalmatians. As I was saying, Toy Story as well as 101 Dalmatians both had a promo for Muppet Treasure Island. This may have been the first Muppets thing I ever saw, I'm not entirely sure. Billy Connolly was in it, and I knew Billy from his stand-up material, even at that age.
I went round and round last night trying to find the way in, I couldn't. Aberdeen, Perth, oh fuck, sorry! And eventually I went in a bit that says, Discovery, fuck it, let's see.
That's 3 videos we've gone through already. Technically 4 since 1 is a box set. Actually, if we're talking my introduction to Billy Connolly in general, that's at least 12 videos, just to lead up to the fucking Muppets. There was also a cereal promotion. In 1999, my favourite cereal was promoting Muppets in Space, and the cereal boxes contained those flimsy plastic toys. I won Gonzo. I remember that much. Nah, forget that one. Sometimes when I was at my grandparents' house, I had to contend with their limited kid-friendly VHS collection, which included Back to the Future, Postman Pat's Big Video, children's cartoon favourites, The Aristocats, Lady and the Tramp, Children's Preschool Compilation, Sesame Street Sing Yourself Silly, Cool Runnings, Stuart Little 2, Funtime Favourites, and finally, The Jungle Book. At my count, that's 25 videos. This video had 2 things relating to the Muppets. A trailer for the movie Muppet Christmas Carol, and a clip from, I think, the Muppets TV show at the end, featuring Kermit and Miss Piggy talking about a crappy vacation. Even as a kid, I didn't care about any of this. I was always fast-forwarding through the opening ads, and I most certainly wasn't sticking around for anything after the credits. That brings us to the present day. I've seen the modern movies, but I only own 2 Muppet movies, Treasure Island and Christmas Carol. I went back and watched Treasure Island a few months ago, and it holds up. It's still entertaining. What about Muppet Christmas Carol? So, opening ads. Where would a Muppet VHS tape be without some Muppet promotions? There's something about Muppet fairy tales, never seen it, means nothing to me. Haven't seen Fraggle Rock either, I'm not the biggest Jim Henson fan, if it isn't clear at this point. If you're a Muppet lover, you probably can't go wrong with any of these. Now, on to the main feature. I apologise for my painful lack of knowledge when it comes to Muppet characters, I only know a few of them. Of course, the story A Christmas Carol needs no introduction. This is pretty much a basic adaptation of the classic Charles Dickens tale, with some Muppets playing the majority of the main characters, with only a few human characters. In the role of narrator, we have Gonzo, with Rizzo the Rat tagging along.
I am here to tell the story.
And I am here for the food.
Playing Ebenezer Scrooge is Michael Caine. It took me until the mid-2000s to realise it was him, and this was after seeing The Italian Job and Austin Powers in Goldmember. If you've seen just one movie adaptation, you know how Scrooge works. He's a selfish douchebag who hates Christmas.
Humbug.
Finally, we have Kermit the Frog in the role of Bob Cratchit, Scrooge's good-hearted employee, and Stephen McIntosh as Fred, Scrooge's joyful nephew, a complete polar opposite of Old Eb. There are probably some other important characters in there like Jacob Marley the door handle, but I'm not overly familiar with A Christmas Carol. I've only seen 3 movies, 4 if you count the Bill Murray movie, and 5 if you count Bah Humduck, the Looney Tunes one from 2006. Later that night, Scrooge is visited by the spirits of 2 heckling assholes, Jacob and Robert Marley, who were apparently Scrooge's former business partners. One musical number later, they tell Scrooge that he will be haunted by 3 spirits before the night is out. Listen to the ghosts and learn to change your ways, or you'll face the same fate as these two, dead and in chains. Dudes, dark.
Expect the first ghost tonight when the bell tolls 1!
Can't I meet them all at once and get it over with?
When the bell tolls 1!
The first ghost, the ghost of Christmas Past, takes the form of some weird child and takes Scrooge back to relive his childhood and education under the watch of headmaster Sam the Eagle, his eventual career with Fozzie Bear, and a little bit of heartbreak in there at the end. Also, there's a cat that chases Rizzo and a Christmas party with a music group featuring Animal on drums, Rolf the dog on piano, and Dr. Eggman on bass. I may not know that much about the Muppets, but I'm a musician, so I have to know who Animal is. The second ghost is some big and hairy freak that calls himself the Ghost of Christmas Present. He sings arguably the most iconic song in the movie and shows Scrooge some familiar faces who don't seem to regard him that highly. Here we're introduced to Tiny Tim, a terminally ill frog. What he's sick with, I have no idea. It's never really mentioned. Also, I'd like to take note that the present ghost shows him Christmas morning, which is technically in the future, but details. The Ghost of Christmas Future, I refuse to say yet to come, is either the Grim Reaper or a Dementor, I'm not entirely sure. He takes Scrooge into the future and Scrooge learns about a death or two, one of which no one seems to give a shit about. If anything, they seem happy that this person is gone. They certainly didn't waste time in cleaning out his house of anything valuable, barely a day after his death as well. The other death is a lot more tragic. Scrooge and, for lack of a better name, Death, visit the graveyard where Scrooge learns that he is the one whose passing brought so much glee to the townspeople. Hopefully this gives him the motivation to have a change of heart and become a better man with Christmas spirit. One question I have from watching this, and this could change the way people look at this movie and A Christmas Carol in general. What if it all was a lie? What if the ghosts weren't actually showing him what his future could be and it was all made up to scare him? What if Tiny Tim was perfectly healthy and Scrooge wasn't viewed as an unwanted creature and wasn't going to suffer a lonely death? It makes you think.
Whatever.
In conclusion, I've seen this movie probably dozens of times over the past 20 years and it never gets old. The story is timeless and heartwarming, Michael Caine is great as Scrooge, and the musical numbers are surprisingly good. I'm not sure if this is the best Christmas Carol adaptation, I've not seen enough of them to make that judgment, but this could be good enough to be in my top 5 Christmas movies of all time. It's definitely my favourite Muppet movie, that's not saying much, I've only seen 4, but it's definitely the most rewatchable in my eyes. I give it a well-deserved 4 out of 5, and it goes to number 26 in the rankings, ahead of Adventures in Kettleland and the Thoms and Friends Nick Jr. Party, and behind Bad Day at Cat Rock and Christmas Looney Tunes. I had to debate that one, and as good as this movie is, it's not beating a Looney Tunes video. That is still the best Christmas video I own. And with that, I think it's time for a break. Never fear though, I have unfinished business.